As the coronavirus pandemic continues, cities and counties are preparing for increased expenses combined with losses in revenue.
Well, taking a hit in revenue from sales tax, property taxes, and state funding could significantly impact their budget. News 8 Now's Mal Meyer explains how local leaders are preparing for current and also future needs.
One of the biggest sources of revenue for La Crosse is property taxes. It made up about half of the city's revenue in 2019. So far, delinquent payments are actually down from last year, according to Mayor Tim Cabot.
I don't think we should see, hopefully, any issues with our property tax collections.
That's the good news. But one of the biggest impacts could be changes to tourism, especially for specific expenses. For example, the city increased the room tax to help pay for part of the La Crosse Center renovation and expansion project.
We're going to see that impact, for this year, and who knows, it could be into next year as well.
Cabot says the city tries to have in its reserves about 20% of the annual operating budget. That could be used in the short term, but he would prefer to look at other options.
Our hope, of course, is that we don't need to tap into those reserve funds.
Meanwhile, the county is concerned about potential losses in sales tax revenue from the state. It accounts for nearly 8% of the budgeted revenues for 2020.
We're likely to see a significant drop in that, although it's too early to tell.
FEMA and the CARES Act might help for some expenses. And like the city, the county has some reserves. But the longer this goes, that could be concerning.
I'm most worried about the end of 2020 and what happens in the 2021 budget.
The annual budget is created every year starting in the summer. The difficulty for departments will be predicted versus actual expenses.
How do you take that into account then when you go to plan the 2021 budget?
Ultimately, this is an issue that the new board will face when they're sworn in next Tuesday.
So trying to navigate through all of that will be, I think, especially challenging for the county administration and for the county board moving forward.
In La Crosse, Mal Meyer, News 8 Now.
The city says it's trying to gather initial estimates on some of the expenses and losses in revenue. It hopes to have that ready for the May Common Council meeting.